Yeah.
Streaming wars. Move into the world of media. Transition from marketing into media. And now we're talking about the streaming wars. So, streaming wars are essentially, and there's a really great definition I have up on the screen that I pulled from IGN. I think it really helps to kind of explain what they are. But it's essentially the modern day, maybe not even cable battle, but the modern day battles between all these content platforms, these streaming platforms, Netflix, Amazon, Disney, Apple, I'm missing Hulu. I mean, even to some extent, like ESPN, all of them now have HBO.
HBO Go.
And the place that they, and I don't know if it's so much limited, but the place that they're all jockeying for on your TV, on your phone, for your money at the end of the day, right? And so I was talking about this with one of my buddies the other day, and we were talking a lot about how what was old becomes new again. And we were talking about all these streaming services, and one thing that I brought up was, now with so many streaming platforms, it feels like some smart person out there could combine them all and call it something like cable, where you pay one price for all the streaming services. And imagine what a world that would be. How great would that be, right? We're just right back where we started when everyone left cable, and now we've become so fragmented that maybe that's an ideal space. So then you tweeted at me again, and now I'm going to counterpoint. That's what's happening today. I want now you to chime in on your take on the streaming wars.
Well, I think the chief kind of point of contention between your position and mine is that that's a bad thing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, really with combining them all, if that were a thing, if there was a way that we could pull them all together, I think that could be positive for people who already pay for all of them. Maybe you get them a little bit of a discount. Maybe it's easier to manage those payments. But I think really what people are trying to say when they're having this discourse is, oh, well, if I'm going to just pay for all this stuff and it's going to add up to, $100 a month, and why don't I just pay for cable? And that I can't agree with, because you've got portability, which, yes, you can log into your, cable app and see things on your phone, but it's a nightmare. Let's not pretend like that's the same. There's no contracts, which a lot of cable companies have gotten rid of, but not all of them, especially like your DirecTV and your Dish and those kind of things definitely still operate under that. But even more than that is, I don't pay for all of those. I don't know a lot of people who do. I think more people do choose the ones that suit them. And then they can always go, okay, not that one anymore. Yep. Netflix all of a sudden doesn't have anything I want to watch. Done. I want to watch this over here. Sure. We don't have that with cable in the same way. And I think it's user interface. There's a bunch of other UX things and experience things.
Well, I think this is a classic example of what happens on Twitter. People read something, then they get mad about it. We're actually agreeing, right? So I'm with So my big thing also is, I am sure I'm pretty good at life hacks and technology hacks. But I don't know it all. I know that shocks everyone to hear. I am sure there is a software, some sort of thing out there that allows you to input all these accounts and potentially, and maybe it is one that exists, like a sling. Maybe you could put them all there. And I don't mean literally oh, you go to your home and then you pick the app. I mean something that essentially can even aggregate it in together, which would be pretty cool, right? Pretty slick. Yeah. It would be insane. It would be crazy. So, you mentioned someone that has all of these services. So I did do the work of, and this was also on the same IGN article, of finding, if you were to purchase all of them, how much it would cost. So, and I'm pretty sure this is pretty up to date because it has HBO Max on it, and that's relatively new.
Yeah.
So, Full
Yeah.
disclosure, I don't even know what HBO Max is. Do you know what HBO Max is? I don't know what it is. I
I
think it
do not.
has things on it, cartoons. Okay. So if you know in
Probably
the
some
comments, feel
stuff.
free to let me know. Netflix, Hulu,
Yeah.
Showtime, CBS, Prime Video, Stars, Disney Plus, Apple TV, bringing up the rear at $5 and still not worth it. Sorry, Apple. Like,
No.
I just heard that the shows on Apple TV on their streaming are just the pits. So
Yeah. I haven't seen any
no.
compliments of that
So if
at
you
this
were
point.
to have bought all of these, and with Disney Plus now coming out, there is some bundles. So there's like a Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN
Yeah.
bundle, but you are looking around
Yep.
$90 per month. As we knew
Yeah.
cable, this is, I would say this would be like a middle to like low end cable bill. I feel like, you
Yeah.
know. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. For the most part.
I also wanted to ask you, if you had to pick one, which one? This is Desert Island. If you were stuck on a desert island with strong Wi-Fi signal and a mobile device, this is a very realistic situation, by the way. They have a
Oh,
Wi-Fi.
totally.
I know.
I wish it
Me
was
too.
kind of.
They have a Wi-Fi tower. You have your phone and electricity also. Duh. Of course.
Oh, of course. Yeah. And perhaps
No,
shelter for my TV.
that it's a waterproof phone. You're
Whatever.
fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Okay. Got
Um,
it. Cool.
which one of these would you go with?
It's a good question. I have not tested out
I have
Disney
heard it's
Plus yet.
buggy.
There's a lot of positive
The
reviews of it.
content is good, but I've heard it's buggy.
Well, I've heard, and
Yeah.
it's very niche. I mean, even though there's a lot of content for every age and every interest, it is still
Yeah.
very niche in that it's very Disney, obviously. I think I would go with Netflix because it's decentralized from compared to a lot of the other platforms. Apple matches with Apple,
Yeah.
Amazon
Yeah.
matches with Amazon, and I feel like you're always going to be Amazon's worried about their store, their chief product before
Totally.
video. Same thing with Apple. They're worried about phones and computers first. So you're never going to get the best service. You're never going to get the most focusability and improvement of service in that area by those companies. And Hulu, I was never really enchanted by Hulu.
You said you got
I
it for a
did.
trial to watch the first season of Handmaid's Tale. But you didn't
That's
watch
right.
the second season.
And then
You weren't convinced enough. to
no,
go
because
back.
it made me too stressed out. That's beside the point. That's not Hulu's fault. But, Hulu is also just kind of to me, a subpar UX to Netflix. I think it's the one that polished the kind of experience of that. And I would also give Netflix the credit that it's probably got the best mobile user
Yeah, it
interface
is
of
really
anything
good
I've seen
mobile.
so far.
Yeah, I would agree.
And it's because it's
I
the
know.
OG. I mean, they kind of deserve the clap because they were the first one to kind
And
of
I
make
don't
this
know
up.
if anyone laughed at it, but I think a lot of people they looked at it a little cross-eyed when Facebook was like, yeah, we're going to invest like $1 billion in content, like billions of we're going to invest a ton of money in original content. And I
Right.
would say to that, like, good on them for thinking about that, probably because they probably saw Disney knocking at the door, but they just saw kind of in a long-term thing that it's not the platform, it's going to be the content. It's going to be easier
Right.
to replicate the streaming. Now, Netflix also was probably the oldest as far as technology wise, having, the streaming technology, working in it, optimizing it, delivering it, from
Yeah.
to get you this stuff technologically, but that the content is going to be what makes people stay.
Well, and there's also, I think, in the original content vein, you've got even sillier ways to make side cash, like all the merch for Stranger Things and Orange is the New Black and all of these other shows that they own. There's a whole culture around these shows. I don't feel like a lot of the other streaming platforms that have tried an original series have reached that level of success. But even some of the other ones, it's kind of astonishing to me how many of these shows ended up so
Yeah.
mainstream. where they're winning Emmy awards and all of those kinds of things. And every time that happens, they're going to say Netflix original series, Amazon original series, and that's going to be marketing that goes back there. So that's all.
I'm not going to lie, I also would be hard up to give up Hulu because, as I've talked about on some other episodes of Tripod, I'm really obsessed with The Amazing Race. Literally starting from season 1, and they have like 30 seasons of The Amazing Race, and it's like my comfort show. Like I come home and like, oh, like I know I'm home and in my pajamas when I'm watching The Amazing Race. It's just so good. And we were talking about, it is hard for me to watch really stressful, like suspense shows. So,
Yeah.
It's one that you can just jump in and just sit back and relax. And I go from that to Parks and Rec to like just, and then The Office is my nighttime show. It's like before I go to bed show,
Of course.
So
Yep.
that's like, anyone curious on my evening routine, that was really the gist of it. Which is very revealing probably for me, but but yes. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. Disney is now on the scene, and watch The Mandalorian. I don't have Disney yet. I'm going to probably get it though, but I have seen the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian. Spoiler alert. I'm going to give you a moment. Anyone out there, if you want to mute this, you want to do it now. So mute now if you haven't seen The Mandalorian, and I will hold up my thumbs up when I'm done talking about it so you can unmute. Mute now. Can we talk about Baby Yoda? I mean, it's the cutest thing in the world. I can't. I just can't. Like, I have to.
I haven't seen any episodes and I still want to cry from like just wanting to hold him.
Blown up the internet, and I have to think, blowing up tattoo shops. Who doesn't want a Baby Yoda tattoo at this point?
Oh, it's
Who doesn't want a baby?
It might have already happened.
Maybe that's our next live stream. Ross gets his Baby Yoda tattoo. I mean, that would be worthwhile. That's an investment.
I'm not coming to that one. I will not be there.
I didn't say where I was getting it, to be fair. So it could just be on my calf, so whatever.
I'm still not going to be there.
But Baby Yoda's where it's at. Okay, so now I'm going to hold up my thumbs up so anyone. Okay, if you're rejoining us after that, welcome back. And with that, we're done with Streaming Wars. Unless you got anything else to add. You got anything?
No, I think we're on an even keel now. Maybe our relationship has been repaired.
Takeaway. That was definitely the takeaway that I got from it. The gist of it. My tweet was the best, which has never been the case. Ever. All right, so now we move on. Subject number 3, Miscellaneous. This was going to be your jam.
Yes.
Hope you're ready. Okay.
It is. I'm ready.